Hi, welcome back to my FlossTube. My name is Kate and I'm also known as twolittlekits on the internet. I haven't done FlossTube in the last 2 weeks, so I have lots that I want to share. I don't have a lot that I just want to talk about because you guys are really quiet, those of you that are following along with my FlossTube at the moment. So I don't have any questions or anything like that, which is fine. So it's probably going to be a pretty short FlossTube this fortnight. I'm definitely going to stick with doing it every 2 weeks, and that way I have more to share, and I feel like I won't feel as pressured. So hopefully that's cool with you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on that. That'd be great. So the first thing that I want to talk about is haul. So I mentioned in my first two floss tubes that I had been waiting for an order from 123 Stitch to come. After a very polite but stern email, I got through to someone and they were able to push my order through a little bit quicker than what it was saying it was going to be, which was going to be mid to late August, which is not good enough. So anyway, so I got some floss, which I've already started using. Yay! So I've already been using the light blue. And this is for my big commission that I'm working on at the moment, which I will show you in a sec. These are just the colors that I was potentially going to need a whole skein of, except for this one, which I'm like 99% certain I will need at least the one plus probably at least half of the other one, and I wanted to make sure that they would color batch, as I talked about in the first floss tube. So that's my floss. There's like a whole multitude of other colors in the pattern, but I have enough of those colors in my stash already, so I'm not going to worry about them. I also got some fabric, which is gorgeous. I got this Mystic Grey, which, because I'm recording in daytime this time, you can probably see it properly. This is a 14 count Ada from Zweigart, and it's just very subtle. I like it. I did get another one which I've already started stitching on it, so you'll see it in a minute. I got this other Zweigart Stormy Night, which has a little bit of texture to it. And the light is making it look very pretty, because it is pretty. It's just got, yeah, a hint of a pattern on there. And that's a 14 count. I got a 10 by 18. I didn't get very much. The first one is a 10 by 18 as well, because I was getting a bunch of greys for the piece that I'm working on. I got this Picture This Plus Mirage Ada, which is a 12 by 17. I've gotten this one before, and it's just so pretty, and it's so soft as well. These two are really like rigid, which is fine. I don't mind working on rigid fabric, but this one is just very, very soft, and the what's it called? The Ada like holes in it are really close together, so this will be a good piece to do like a Stitch People portrait on, and that's what I've used it for in the past. So I got a 12 by 17 of that, and that's 14 count as well. I didn't expect I'd want to do my commission on this one, but I was already making an order, so I wanted to get some more. So that was my little haul that I got. I posted an Instagram of, well, no, I'll go back on that. I have recorded an Instagram reel about this stash, and by the time I put this on YouTube I will have posted it, but hopefully it will resonate with a bunch of people. It's basically saying that I promised I would use up my previous fabric and floss before buying some new stuff. And how did that go? Didn't go very well. But anyway, so onto finished pieces. I don't have that I can actually show you, unfortunately, because they've already been given or mailed. So I'm going to run the videos that I've taken of those pieces now. The first one is for my daughter's behavioral therapist. She finished with us last week, and I did the stream on Twitch of me actually stitching this from start to end. And I did the design in the morning of Thursday last week, and I did the stitching in the evening, and then I washed it before I went to bed and ironed it in the morning and framed it in the hoop once it was ironed and stuff. And so I got it done in like 24 hours, which I'm pretty impressed with, I'll be honest with you. And I'm very pleased with how it came out, and it was well received, which is always awesome, because it's not everyone's cup of tea, a Stitch People portrait, so it was well received, thankfully, and she seemed very touched by it. And yeah, so that's the first one that I've finished since my last FlossTube. And the second one is the restitch of the wedding piece that I had been streaming the week before last, I think. It was at least in my first stream from recent, so either 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Anyway, so I've got that finished. I mailed that off today, and I'm recording this on Tuesday the 3rd. So hooray, I'm so pleased to get that out the door. I'm actually really happy with how it came out as this restitch. The florals are a lot more dainty, and I didn't do the dog the same way, but I wasn't confident in how I did it the first time. So I made the really, really hard call of just doing it cross-stitched and not turkey work. So I think it still looks good, but I think it would have been awesome if I didn't have to redo the whole thing, obviously. But I'm pleased overall with how the piece has come out, and I really hope my customer is, fingers crossed. So that should be arriving next week, and if it doesn't arrive, I'm gonna be so mad. This time I'm going through a different mail courier, and I've got tracking, and I've got insurance, and the whole 9 yards. So it should get there. There shouldn't be any problem. It's even to a different address because my customer moved house as well. So anyway, the other finish that I have is a sneak peek too of my next stitch along. This is going to be my Just Breathe stitch along. This is going to be a free embroidery stitch along that you can do. I'm going to start it next month once my kids are at school. That's quite deliberate. And this, I'm like in love with this design, I'll be honest with you. It was super easy. It's going to be super beginner friendly. I think it has 7 stitches. Hold on. Yes, it has 7 different stitches. I will show you how to do it from start to end. So the start being you've got all your materials and don't know what to do with them all, to end where you'll be able to frame it in the hoop. It'll be prettier. I like leaving my backs open for my work, as I like to be able to see what it looks like on the back. So I'll show you how to finish it so that it's got a pretty back as well. And that will be awesome. I can't wait, and I'm thinking I might provide some different color options so you don't have to do this purple and white option. But I'm a real sucker for these particular greens and this particular purple set of colors from DMC. So I'll probably make sure that I do a different color for my one that I do for the stitch along, but I'm definitely keeping this one. I like it so much. Anyway, that's my finishes for the last 2 weeks. I don't think I've finished anything else, but I have been working on a lot of stuff. So I'm going to move on to my works in progress. You can probably see back here, that's my Firefly sampler. I haven't been able to touch it in the last 2 weeks, so I'm not showing you that. You can look at my second FlossTube video to see where I'm up with that. It's not very far, but it's something. But anyway, I've been doing the test stitch for my next cross stitch pattern, which I designed on stream 2 weeks ago when I was feeling like designing rather than stitching. So this one is called Inside Jokes. Inside Jokes. And it's kind of inspired by like old school kind of cross stitch designs, with obviously the fun modern snark or sarcasm more appropriately to it. And I finally had an excuse to use this blackboard black, it's like a dark grey fabric, because I thought that it would look quite nice on a dark colour. And I was right, this is a lot easier to stitch on than pure black fabric, but I can only do this during the day. I can't stitch on this fabric in the evening very well, unless I've got, you know, the white paper underneath me or white fabric or whatever underneath me so I can see the holes. But that's coming along nicely. That's probably only got like an hour left to go and that'll be done, and then I'll be able to work on the like updating the pattern and setting up the listing and all of that, and then that will be on my website. I'm going to try and get that done in the next like 2 weeks. It'll be sometime this month basically. I went ahead because none of you guys were giving me suggestions on other people's patterns that I could buy, so I went ahead and picked something that I found a long time ago, as you probably understand when I show you it, and always wanted to make. I had many options of which designs to go with, because a lot of different designers have their own spin on this, but I went with Satsuma Street for their mini cities. So this is what I've been working on. This is a 10-inch hoop. This is like crazy big for me. I usually work in 6-inch hoops. But this is Sydney. I picked 3 cities to buy, and I chose locations that we've lived in. She doesn't have a lot of cities to pick from. I'd love it. If you're watching this, I can't remember what your name is, I'm sorry, but if you're watching this, please do Melbourne, Australia. That would be like so great. But we did live in Sydney for a year, or the north of Sydney, so not exactly in Sydney, but I worked in the city, so I'm gonna count it as somewhere we lived. And it's the only Australian one that she has, so I'm doing Sydney first. I also got Los Angeles and Seattle because we've lived in those 2 places too now. There were, like I said, there's other pattern designers that have their own mini cities series, and a lot of them have Melbourne and a lot of them have like San Diego, and I couldn't find anywhere else that we've lived. Like we've lived in the Anaheim area and we've lived in just the eastern. The only other place is the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, which doesn't really count. So I would consider that Melbourne. But those are the only 2. So San Diego, or 3. San Diego, Melbourne, and I would consider Anaheim, but it was technically Irvine in California as well. So those 3 are missing, but I think the 3 that I've picked are really cool, and I figured I'd start with Australia because I'm Australian, and this is 18 count fabric. I had to go out and buy 18 count fabric because I apparently only have little scrap bits of it that, you know, like this big leftover from stitching Overwatch characters a couple of years ago. So I went out and I bought a big tube of 18 count, and I've already cut into like a quarter of it to just get this pattern ready. And I've gridded it, and yeah, I've finished one color already, and I'm almost finished a second color. But I think that they're like the two easiest color, or two of the easiest colors, so we'll see. But it looks really cool, and I can't wait to get more of it fleshed out. So this is Sydney, and I'll probably do LA next, because that will be the next one that we lived in, because currently we're near Seattle, not in Seattle anymore. And the last work in progress is actually also demonstrating the new fabric that I have, which is this. This is, I don't have the sticker of it anymore, but it's very similar to one of the other fabrics that I got. So I can't actually tell you what the name and brand is, but like they're pretty similar. This one is just a bit more yellowy, and this one's more blue, and this works, I feel, a lot better with the pattern that I'm currently working on. So that was why I picked this one over the other one. And yeah, I cut it down to, I cut it a little bit to size, because I got new scissors a couple of months ago that do this like jagged edge, and I really like that because it stops it from fraying a little bit. So I trimmed it down, but the whole fabric that I got is the whole pattern. I'll be honest, normally I trim a pattern a bit too much, or not a pattern, I trim the fabric a bit too close to where it should be, and I'm trying to get better at that. That's why, like, this has all this space, and this has all these rolled bits. Like, I'm trying to get better at that, but it's hard because I like to be frugal. I like to be efficient with everything, but with how long this piece is going to take me and how much my customer is paying and so many other reasons, I figure I got a 10 by 17, I believe, or 10 by 18, one or the other, and I figured just play it safe. If I had to cut off some fabric, or what feels like a lot of fabric, so be it. I would rather trim off more than have to re-stitch this monstrous piece again. So yes, I got my fabric yesterday, and I got all my flosses yesterday, and I gridded it, and I took out my Stranger Things sampler that I haven't touched in over a year, and I'm using the Q-snap from that, and these cool little quilting things which is holding the sides out of the way so I don't stitch them to the back. And yeah, this is as far as I've gotten so far, which is, I'll be honest, I'm impressed with how fast I stitch. This is like, I want to guess, but I'm not going to guess right. It's at least like 90 minutes of work, and it doesn't look like a lot. Like, I guess if you're watching this and you're not a stitcher, this looks like a tiny amount of work, but this is a lot of squares, and I haven't technically timed myself on how fast I stitch, but I should do that actually. I should time myself and see how long it takes me to do X amount of stitches in one color. So changing, like, you can see on the back how many times I've changed. So those little lines there that go horizontal, that's wherever I've had to put on a new strand of floss. And that takes time as well. So I guess I should time myself on how long it takes me to do 20 stitches in one color with one cut of floss, just for fun. If you've done that, let me know. I'd love to know how fast everyone stitches. That would be super interesting, because I'm a nerd, but whatever. But yeah, it's coming along nicely, and I will show you my pattern. I'm marking it off with a highlighter on how far I've gotten. So that, and there's like a tiny bit on that second page that I've done. So I'm just going around the window, and then I'm going to fill in the bit between the windows, and yeah. So it's coming along nicely. It looks a lot better digitally because my printer has run out of blue ink, and I still can't find my refills of ink. And I mean, this works fine. I'm not going to print it out again. It's like 7 pages of pattern. It's a lot when I can just read it, because I made sure that all the symbols would work, because I knew I would be reading it. But this was the, I shouldn't show you it too close, but this is the Pretty Little Sydney by Satsuma Street. So like, it's a monster, and I haven't been marking it off with highlighter. I've been crossing out with a black pen where I've done, but like this is 4 pages, so there's that and that and that and that. Like, it's too big for you to screenshot the video and copy, but it's, yeah, not as big as this house that I'm working on, basically. But I'm excited. I can't wait to, I like when I do a pattern, when I stitch a pattern, I like to try and do each color at a time, and that works really well when I'm doing those tiny pieces like this, because they're over really fast and I don't get sick of one color. So I'm trying to do the same thing with this house, and so I started with this light blue because it is the most stitches per color out of all of them. Have I got it somewhere? It is, wait for this, 1,368 squares, like stitches. And my pattern says that it's going to take 1.6 skeins of floss. I counted it up, and I didn't write it down, but I should have. It's like 7,500 stitches. So like, yeah, it's a lot. The greens take up a lot too, because in my editing, I'll put a screenshot of the pattern that my pattern maker makes, where it looks like it's stitched, so that you can see what it's supposed to look like, because this, as I said, this is not a good representation, because those trees are meant to be green, they're not meant to be orange. So anyway, so that's what I've been working on. I've been trying to keep my desk tidy, but having finished 2 Stitch People pieces in the last week, I have kind of floss everywhere. Actually, not anymore. I've got to put away a couple of bobbins that are like down there. So once I've done that, my desk will feel a lot neater. And as you may have noticed, I got this installed. Oh, my cat's here. Here's Milo. Oh, he wants a cuddle. He loves me. I'm his human. See? Hi, Milo. I wonder if you'll be able to hear him purr on the video. He purrs whenever he gets a cuddle, which is very cute. Yes, I know, mate. Okay, we're cuddling now. What was I saying? Oh yeah, my husband put up my pegboards. I've got one on that wall as well as one on that wall, and I love them. And if you are a stitcher that has like a little desk area, I highly recommend that you get them. You know what, I'm going to move the camera and I'm going to show you. Like, how cool is that? It's got all my hoops, well, not all of my hoops, it's got some of my hoops. And I've put some extra floss colors up there. And that's not all of the spare floss that I have. I just wanted to make it extra pretty. and I don't have the real floss. You want to get down? I don't have the real floss color card from DMC. I've just got a printed one, but that works fine for me. And I've got, yeah, just other bits and pieces, and I've hung up some of my work a little, like, temporarily. It's not where that's all gonna live. Yeah, I love it. And I've got my shelf. I've got 2 shelves up there. I'm trying to put this back where it was. So my little area in the house is coming along nicely. I still got the cat. Hello. If you don't have a cat, you should get one too, if you're not allergic. Hi. But yeah, that's my week. I am trying to figure out what I'm going to do during this stream on Thursday, which when you see this will have been last night. I don't actually know. I might just keep working on this house, to be honest, which might be difficult because I can't mount that on my desk mount, which is this. Actually, I probably could if I tried hard enough. But anyway, it might just be easier to hold it. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you've got any thoughts, put a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I can't believe how many subscribers I have right now. Like, thank you so much. I think I'm like pretty close to 500 now, which is amazing. How are there 500 people interested in my little videos? Which shouldn't surprise me too much, I guess, because over on Instagram I've got almost 1,700 people following me, and there's cat hair flying everywhere now. Yeah, if you ever order something from me, it's likely that there will be cat hair stitched into it, with love, of course. I just had a quick scan because I do forget things, and that's everything I have going on right now. It's August now, so my kids are going to be going back to school in well, my oldest will be going back in 4 weeks and my youngest will be going back in about 4.5 weeks because she starts kindergarten and they'll be starting a little bit later. So that'll be exciting, and I'll be able to start my stitch along. And I have designs in here of other stitch alongs that I want to work on. And yeah, once the summer holidays are over, I feel like I have a lot that I can keep myself busy with, which is great, because I know a lot of people who have kids and then they all eventually are at school and they don't know what to do with themselves. I don't think I'm going to have that problem. So, but anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, and yeah, hope to read your comments and all of that jazz. So I will see you next time. Bye.